welcome back to another quick and dirty rebuild. This time around we're going to be doing the New Orleans Saints. This is the result of a quick poll I made on the channel asking for the team to rebuild as part of the 100 subscriber special. I'm so happy. Breaking this is a huge milestone for me. Never ever expected to get here, get 100 subscribers, 100 people wanting to be part of this channel to look at my content. That is just amazing. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate that. Also appreciate you partaking in the poll. Basically, two teams came out as being interesting for you. One was the New Orleans Saints. The other was the Las Vegas Raiders. And well, I think I'll be doing both. But for now, I will be doing the New Orleans Saints. And we are going to be taking a look immediately at the team, starting with the analysis. What is a quick and dirty rebuild? Quick reminder, we are going to take the team to the Super Bowl as quickly as possible while still maintaining a lot of realism in the rebuild. So I'm not going to go completely rogue here. Taking a look at the week, of course. You can see that we are in week 11. That is not a mistake. That is fully intentional. Why? Well, quite simply, because I simulated up to this point with the real results that the real New Orleans Saints have managed to get so far. Of course, the scores are not right, the results are right. We've got the win against the Falcons in the first week. Then we have 3 losses against the Bucks, the Panthers, and the Vikings. A win against the Seahawks, a loss against the Bengals, a loss against the Cardinals, win against the Raiders, and 2 losses in a row against the Ravens and the Steelers. That was just very shortly ago. And yeah, Kenny Pickett really did his best, did really play well there. And well, Andy Dalton, a little bit out of his depth right there. So week 11 is going to be next against the Rams. And this is where we're sort of going to be picking up the squad. I always like to give these rebuilds a little bit of a realistic touch here. Basically, the rebuild is I will be moving through the season on sim, then rebuilding the team, and so on and so forth. So I cannot control the results that the team will get in games. So we will have to take a look at the team first, get a grip for where we stand right now, what the team looks like, and what we are working with here. We have 2 quarterbacks. At the moment, we've got Jameis Winston, 28-74 rated rich quarterback, and we've got Andy Dalton, who is 34 and 71 rated. Both, as you can see, not the best prospects right there. Not too crazy about that. We've got the ratings. You can see that he is solid in certain areas, but for the most part, this is horrible, right? 28-year-old, 74 rated quarterback. So that is definitely a position that needs a change at the end of the season. The running room is looking very nice. We've got Alvin Kamara there. We've got Mark Ingram II and Dwayne Washington. Dwayne Washington is more of a backup player right there. Mark Ingram is looking solid, a little bit on the older side. Alvin Kamara, this is a player that I'm super happy about. Very good running back and 88 rated, 12 ranked halfback in the game. And what's more, he does have a few years on his contract, which is great because that means that we've got stability at that position. He's quite pricey, to be honest, especially in his last year, but for the moment, that's not going to bother us too much. Fullback is Adam Prentice. I always find this player to be hilarious. Why? Because this is Apprentice, right? I mean, whoever looks at that name and doesn't read Apprentice has no imagination, right? So I always get a chuckle out of that one. He's a solid fullback as far as fullbacks go, you know, but overall, fullbacks are generally pretty bad in Madden at the moment, so there's no real peaks here. So for the moment, we're going to work with him, but definitely going to be switching him out at some point in time. Wide receiver room. Michael Thomas, 29 years old, 91 rated. This is a very solid wide receiver, very good for the moment, 91 rated. So at the moment, we don't really have too much of a problem right there. We've got Jarvis Landry, 29-82, also super solid wide receiver. Now we've got Chris Olave out of the draft. He is injured, not in real life, but here in the game. Broken finger out for a week. Okay, that is not going to be too bad. He does have a start-F trait, Jarvis Landry, Also has a started trade, so that should slow down his regression a little bit. We've got Traquan Smith, 2677 overall. We've got Deontay Hardy, 2477. I've got Marcus Callaway, 2475. We've got Kevin White, and then we've got Rashid Shaheed. So these two certainly are not going to be playing too big of a part here in my roster planning. There's a few candidates that I'm going to be cutting or letting go for sure, like Kevin White. I mean, what is this even going to be? But for the most part, this is a very, very good room that we can really work with. Tight end, we've got Taysom Hill, a little bit on the older side, 3275. Yeah, for this year, it's okay. But after that, we're really going to have to look at that position. We've got Adam Troutman, 2574 rated. He does only have a normal depth fit, so we really will have to see how this pans out, how much he can improve, where the ceiling is. We've got Juwan Johnson, 2573. I would put him in a similar category as Troutman. And then we have a horrible number of tight ends. We've got Nick Vanette, we've got Dylan Cerner, we've got JP Holtz and Zach Wood. And I have no clue why we have this many tight ends here. So that is really strange, really, really strange. And a lot of them not adding value. From here on down, you can really cut all of these players and there will be no quality lost. Left tackle, Trevor Penning, super happy with this one. James Hurst, Landon Young, and they've gone Ethan Greenidge. And these three down here, I mean, James Hurst is passable backup. Landon Young, Ethan Greenidge, definitely cutting material. Trevor Penning out of the 2022 draft with a hidden depth trait. He usually turns out to be a pretty good left tackle, so I'm pretty happy with this one here. Left guard, we've only got Andres Pete at age 28, normal depth trait, 74 rated. This is really not spectacular. I think we will need to work around here a little bit. Also, there's no backup here. I'm sure that the left tackles are backfilling over there, but overall, this is just a really weird setup. At center, we've got Eric McCoy, same thing. One player, no backups. He does have a star depth trait. And at age 25 and 80 overall, this is really a good center to start with. Really happy with this one. The offensive line is always pretty important to me, but the most important is really, really hard-hitting defense. Breakdown of the contract shows us that he's going to be with us long-term. So the center is not a position that we're going to have to care too much about. Right guard, Cesar Ruiz, 23 years old, 77 rated. Behind him, Calvin Throckmorton. Yeah, Cesar Ruiz, 2377 star depth trait. That is really great. Really, really something that we can work with here. He's only with us, 2 years from now, the contracts will end. Then we'll have to take a look at that. But I would like to keep him around. He's a prospect for the future, looking good. Ryan Ramczyk at right tackle, 2889. Of course, a lot of money going down there. Lewis Kidd behind him, a rookie. And Ryan Ramczyk, yeah, at 28 and 89, superstar depth trait, he is certainly a pillar of this offensive line. The big question with these players always is the salary impact. And you can see that this year it's not too bad. But over the course of the next few years, this salary will be skyrocketing. 20 mil, 24, 25, 22. That is really, really a huge deal. So we'll have to see what we do about him. I always like try keeping, cornerstones, important players for the team around, like certain cornerstones. But in terms of this, the cost versus the benefit is just really out of balance. They're 25 mil in 3 years' time for then 32-year-old, 33-year-old, maybe regressing player. That might not be the best thing to do, but yeah, we're going to see how that plays out. Maybe we can get interesting players in. Maybe we can get draft capital. For the moment, I'm going to leave him. Left edge, we've got Cam Jordan. Really like this player a lot. He's a superstar X Factor. Of course, he is a good player right now, not a prospect for the future or anything like that. He is currently the second best left end in the game. Really liking him, but at age 33, I don't know how long he will be with us. Also, next year, major cap hit, 25 mil. That is going to blow us out of the water. We've got Tano Capassignon, whatever that name is. And we've got Carl Granderson here as well. These are backups. I personally would be cutting Capassignon right now because he's the same overall as Carl Granderson, but doesn't really add a lot of value there. Right edge, Marcus Davenport, fantastic player. Peyton Turner behind him. Marcus Davenport, star def player, 82 overall, super solid right edge, 13 ranked right end in the game. He will only be improving. Taking a look at the contract, he's got a contract now, will be up for a contract immediately. So we'll really have to think hard what we're going to do about this player. Next up, D-tackle, we've got David Onyemata right there, 29.77 overall. We've got Shai Tuttle, 26.73, Contavious Street, Malcolm Roach, and Albert Huggins Jr. He looks super weird for some reason. I don't know why, but it looks like his graphic has been shifted or smeared. I don't know, but the ears and something strange is going on here. Anyhow, to look at the quality here, well, it's not that high, right? The best player is him, and these two, I would say, are just nothing more than real Band-Aid backup players if everybody breaks everything. Malcolm Roach, Albert Huggins, definitely cutting material. However, Malcolm Roach, I could envision him to be, you know, a prospect for the future right there. I will give him a chance. The thing is that he's got a normal depth trait. I just don't know how far he will be able to grow, but you know, he's a cheap alternative, so we'll keep him around. Left outside linebacker, Caden Ellis, 27.65. Andrew Dowell, 25.63. Horrible situation right there. So definitely a position where we really need to act quickly. Mid linebacker is Demario Davis, 33 years old, 91 rated. Behind him, Chase Hansen, 29.61. I mean, Demario Davis, fantastic, all right? But again, for the moment, he is the second best mid linebacker in the game, 91 rated, superstar depth trait, but he's 33. So how much longer do we expect him to be around? Plus, his salary will almost be doubling over the next 2 years. That is always going to be a big impact on us. Right outside linebacker, Pete Werner, 24 years old, 78 overall. He is actually a good prospect player, normal depth trait, but despite that, I think we can work with him. In terms of the contract, he has a contract for the next 3 years. He's also not that expensive. I think we can keep him around. We've got Zach Bowen and we've got DeMarco Jackson. Both of these are really only backup players. I would even put Zach Bowen as a cutting player, cutting material, and DeMarco Jackson maybe even as a player that we can use to improve in the future. Cornerback is Marshawn Lattimore, 26 years old, 90 overall, fantastic corner. Really great player. With that superstar depth trait, he also has got a long-term deal, but again, the impact will be pretty harsh over the next 5 years, but he's tied down long-term, so that works for us. Chris Harris Jr., a little bit of a shaky situation here, 33 years old, 81 rated, normal depth trait. So yeah, again, passable corner for the moment, but nothing for the future. Bradley Roby, same category. Paulson Adebo, I like this one here. 23.74, and Alontae Taylor. These two are super young. I think they can grow. One of them is a rookie even. And Duke Shelley, again, not the greatest prospect, to be honest. Free safety, Tyrann Mathieu. Of course, we've got the Honey Badger there. He was always a little bit of a weird addition in terms of he's a fantastic free safety, but the team overall is just feeling so shaky. So what was his expectation? That he was going to win crazy things there? I don't know. But he's locked down again, 3 years. That is pretty good. He's 33 right now. So 30, and he'll be 33 when the contract ends. So that is actually not bad. PJ Williams, 29.75, and Daniel Sorensen, 32.70. Sorensen and Williams, backup players for Tyrann Mathieu, no questions asked. Strong safety, Marcus May, 29.82. We've got Justin Evans, 27.75, and JT Gray, 26.65. Marcus May, I would say super solid strong safety at the moment, 29.82 rated. The thing that I'm looking at in regards for him is, of course, also the contract situation. He's not that great. He will be regressing hard within the next 2 or 3 years, but we have him locked down and he's going to be with us. So for the moment, we're going to keep him, of course. because I will be using the team for the first season as it is right now, but then it's time to rebuild and reshape. Kicker is Will Lutz, the punter is Blake Gillikin. There we go. We also have a few picks. Maybe interestingly enough, we don't have a first round pick, right? We've got a second, third, fourth, fifth, and a seventh round pick, so only 5 picks in this upcoming draft, and we really have a lot of positions that we need to cover. We need to cover quarterback, we need to cover outside linebacker, we need to cover a lot of positions. After that, again, only 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, that's it. So not a lot of picking there, not a lot of drafting there. We will have to rebuild at a free agency as well. Gotta be looking to get the best players in here. The practice squad, of course, is horrible, as was to be expected. There are a lot of players in here. I will just be rolling with these. Gonna look how they improve, and then we're gonna be doing hard cutting at the end of this regular season here. I think that is definitely upcoming. Something that is interesting is how many players are older than 30 here. Just take a look here. And when you then go down a little bit more and incorporate also the 28-year-old players in here, you're almost at the middle. So the balance is clearly shifted towards the older players. We do have a very high age median here, and that is more or less the situation that we are in, right? We have a lot of quality players, certainly. So for looking from the overall side, absolutely great players here. But out of these, again, Michael Thomas hitting 30, Demario Davis nearing the end of the career. Lattimore is good. Ryan Ramczyk nearing 30. Tyrann Mathieu 30. Cam Jordan 33 nearing the end. Alvin Kamara, he's safe. Davenport is safe. Marcus May hitting 30. Jarvis Landry hitting 30. Chris Harris Jr. is 33 nearing the end, and so on and so forth. So basically we are battling a little bit of a aging team here. And yeah, with that said, guys, I will be continuing forward towards the end of regular season. See you then. Then we'll see if we made it into the playoffs. My guess is a hard no, but you never know. All right, here we are at the end of the regular season, the regular 2022 season. And unsurprisingly, we did not make it into the playoff bracket here. To make long things short, I thought I had more money, but I actually don't. That hurts a lot because I would really like to have re-signed Marcus Davenport or Chris Harris, maybe not, but Jarvis Landry I would give a new deal to. Blake Gillikin is a player I think we should keep around. David Onyemata, Marcus Callaway, so quite a few players in here that I would like to keep. But yeah, we're just going to have to let everybody go, basically, because we cannot afford a single player. I really am interested in how the real Saints are going to deal with this. I was a little bit surprised by this here. But do not fret. We will now release all of these players. Then we're going to take a look at free agency. We might even start releasing some of the very costly players because I'm not down to work with this little money. All right, time to analyze the salary situation for the moment. Of course, you know, if you sort by this, by the total contract cost, it doesn't really give you the full information because there are variables that really matter here. You could, for instance, have a player that is here with a high amount, 70 mil, but then again, if you look at the individual years, it's not as bad in these two, but in this one here, everything over 20 mil per year is basically way too much, except for a franchise player, for the face of the franchise, for the most important player, etc., etc. You get my drift. But I am looking at Ryan Ramczyk here, for instance. He is getting over 20 mil each year. That is too much money. That is way too much money. I do not want to work with that. That is not enough. We simply don't have enough money anyways. So I think Ryan Ramczyk is one that I will be trading. Marshawn Lattimore is the same thing. He is a 27 years old, 92 rated, really good player. I hate to see him leave, but that is just nothing that we can really afford right now. Plus, if I sort by salary in the year 2023, you can see that we have 4 players that are above the 20 mil threshold. One of those is Cameron Jordan. I really like him, but we will not be paying that for a 34-year-old. Marshawn Lattimore and Ryan Ramsey, and also up here Michael Thomas. That really hurts me a little bit because he's the best wide receiver that we have. On the other hand side, I don't want to deal with this. This is too much money, and we need to rebuild. Also, for a player like Andres Pete, I mean, let's be serious here, right? That is an insane amount of money. 18 mil for a 74 rated player. I mean, he's a starting guard, but that is just a huge joke. Also looking at Jameis Winston here with 15 mil, that is nothing that I really like seeing, and that is just outright horrible. All right, first trade that we are gonna go for is Jameis Winston. We will be sending him to the Colts. We are receiving a pick for this year, a pick for next year. We only have 5, so we need picks anyways. And we are receiving Bernard Reimann, which is awesome because he's the only Austrian currently employed in the NFL for the Colts. That is a fun fact. Out of 2022, 70 rated left tackle. We need players for the offensive line anyways, so this is a deal that I'm going to be going with straight away. Deal done. We are sending wide receiver Michael Thomas and halfback Jones to the Eagles. We're receiving 2 picks for this year's draft. It's the 2nd round pick 54 and 3rd round pick 86. All right, we are offloading 3 tight ends to the Bengals. It's Taysom Hill, it's Vanette, and Wood. We are receiving a 6th round pick. Don't ask me what the Bengals see in this trade package, but they accept it, so we're going to be going for it. All right, we are getting offers for Andres Pete and James Hurst. Jamin Davis and Armani Rogers actually are the players that I feel like will be the most beneficial. We can immediately upgrade the outside linebacker position, which was a little bit of a problem for us with a younger, pretty good outside linebacker with the potential to grow. Another situation, Ryan Ramsey, we need to offload him. He's just earning too much money. Does hurt me a little bit, but him and Lewis Kidd are packaged together in a pretty good deal, actually, for the team that will get him. Now we've got Jalen Johnson here, 86 rated cornerback. Khaled Gordon, another corner. Not really that much of a problem position for us. We've got Jermaine Johnson here for the Jets. Breece Hall, that's an interesting package. Matt Judon, also super interesting, but he's a little bit on the older side. We would get a 2nd round pick, which would be cool. But I will be going for this one here. Kenyon Green is a super young offensive line player. We need offensive line players anyways, and I really feel like this is a player that we can use. We can move him a little bit on the offensive line and really create a good situation for ourselves right there. He's versatile. Tian Quitoriano off into the tight end room, and Kurt Hennish, never heard of the dude, off into the D-tackle room. So another deal done, reducing the cap impact even more. Done. We're sending superstar X-Factor Cameron Jordan to the Patriots. We are receiving Christian Barmore, left edge player, 75 rated, 24 years old, and Josh Uche, right outside linebacker, 76 rated, also 24. Yeah, just reducing cap impact again, bringing in some players that we can immediately use, also younger players, so that should be helpful for the future. We are packaging Bradley Roby, Anthony Chesley, and Mark Gilbert. To the Eagles, we're receiving the Kobe Dean and Sean Bradley, 2 mid linebackers. Those are players at a position where we have very little player depth at the moment, so we'll bring them in right away. Offloading Demario Davis to the Cowboys, we are receiving Origizuwa, who is a young D-tackle. We do not have players at that position, so bringing him in certainly makes sense for us. All right, next up, we are trading Marshall Lattimore, cornerback, 92 rated superstar X-Factor. To the Bears, we're receiving Jalen Johnson, also cornerback, and Jaquan Brisker as strong safety. I thought really hard and long about this one if I wanted to get rid of Lattimore, but his contract was just so expensive, and a corner isn't the most important position on the field, and I certainly didn't want to make him the highest rated or highest paid player. We needed to cut down on the salary, so that's what we did quite brutally. All right, let me just show you the impact that has had quite quickly. We now have no players that are earning over 20 mil in 2023. That is fantastic. Highest rated player is Kamara, or highest paid player. 2024, same thing again, Alvin Kamara, 14.8. And then finally, in 2025, he gets 25 mil. but nobody else even gets close. And that was something that was really needed. Draft recap time, and we really did go all in on the draft here. But it is a pretty hard rebuild, so we are going to get straight into the matter of things. Tanner McKee is going to be our franchise quarterback. He's going to hit Def Trade, the rookie out of Stanford, 75 rated, a strong arm archetype. We did field general, but that's not too far away. That is good. The ratings, he's got a very good throw power. The accuracy is good across the board. On the run, not as much, so he's more of a pocket type player, but that works for me. Also, he is really, in real life, being touted to go to the Saints and follow up Jameis Winston there. So yeah, that's the first pick for us in the second round. Next up, we got Byron Young, D-tackle, normal depth trade, 72 rated rookie out of Alabama. And yeah, strength rating, very good. Tackle, good. A lot of secondary attributes, also pretty good actually. Pursuit, not as much, but the others, very, very solid. Really looking forward to this one. Let's see how far we can develop him. Avery Young, out of Rutgers, 22-year-old rookie, 72 rated. Speed, acceleration, pursuit, hit power, good already. Tackle, still a little bit low, but everything else that will need to be developed. Certainly a player for the future, but at free safety, we can really use some help. Next up, right tackle, Javion Cohen, 68, a little bit low, but the depth trait is very nice actually. I think I will be using him as a starter straight away. He's got good strength, impact blocking, lead block, run block, finesse, injury, stamina, toughness, also the standouts here. 22 years, out of Alabama. Very happy at this one. The hidden depth trait, unexpected. Next up, Darren Waters, third round pick, number 22, normal depth trait, 64. The overall, the rookie out of Vanderbilt. Yeah, it's very solid. Speed, tackle, pursuit, acceleration. So the physical part is very, very good. Hit, power, strength, already promising. The rest will need to be developed, of course. Certainly not yet usable. We've got Harold Newton out of Buffalo, a rookie, 63 rated. There's a few bits and bobs in there that we can really use, but I just went for depth here. You know, sometimes you get a lucky punch. Next up, we've got Chauncey Finney, a right edge. I wanted to pick him as a backup, but he's actually not looking too bad, is he? 67 is horrible, but that hidden depth trait really intrigues me. I really feel like we should be doing something with him. Might even make him a starter. We'll have to see how this goes. And finally, we've got two cornerbacks that I brought in terms of depth as well. We've got Rick Wooden, 66 overall, out of Notre Dame, 22 years old, normal depth trait. That is not great, but in conjunction with his age, that is actually not too terrible. And we've got Antoine Foreman with a normal depth trait, rookie out of Southern Miss, 66 rated. And again, speed, acceleration, agility, jumping super high. That is important because that means he can zippity zap all around the field. Actually, I'm not too unhappy. There's a few key players in here. Obviously, the top picks, usually those that are higher rated, but a few lucky hits like a Chauncey Finney also in there. Really liking that one. And then simply just a lot of backup players for the future, and always a little bit cheaper players. We just need to keep that salary cap in check. We are at the beginning of the 2023 season, and we are gonna start by taking a look at the roster as it stands right now. We're also going to be adjusting the lineup. There's been quite a few changes, so let's generate the best lineup possible. There we go. And taking a quick look here at the offensive line. We now have Trevor Penning, Kenyon Green, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, and that's the new player. That's the rookie, Javion Cohen. I wasn't sure what the first name was. There we go, Javion Cohen. With that hidden depth trait, the tight end situation is still not really satisfying, but we'll work on that at a later date. The wide receiver room, I'm going to put Olave as wide receiver 1 and Dion Hardy as a wide receiver 2. Alvin Kamara, then it's Jefferson, then Verdell, etc. Tanner McKee, certainly quarterback number 1. Andy Dalton, I brought him in because he does have the mentor tag. Turner is a dedicated fullback, not the best, but it doesn't matter too much at the moment. On defense, things are looking pretty interesting as well. We do have an injury to Nakobe Dean. That is why we are playing with Waters here. I can always change things up here, but of course I want to have Finney playing as my starting right edge. Doesn't matter too much because Peyton Turner is injured anyways. And up here at strong safety, I want to have Jaquan Brisker as the starter. I think this just makes a lot of sense. What we will do now is I'll just be upgrading the players, and then we're going to be off towards the end of the season. Let's just see where we end up with this squad. Right, we're at the end of the 2023 season now. It looks like we made it into the wildcard game here. And we're going to be playing the Dallas Cowboys. Now down here, we were the 4th seed. Actually, not too bad. Our overall results here, 9-8. First in the NFC South. We lost 49 versus 7, which is quite the blowout, to be honest. But if you look at the overalls, we are still in development. We were missing our best D tackle overall at the moment, but we're set up for the future, right? It was a very hard rebuild. I'm fully aware of that. All right, time for a free agency recap. I'm sorting by position. We signed Cam Akers. He was just there for the picking, and he usually develops quite nicely. And a second good, solid halfback behind Alvin Kamara would really be helpful here. Next up, Dion Bond, a dedicated fullback, 23 years old. Just signed him for 7 years. That is the position set. We signed Ceedee Lamb. Awesome wide receiver, 25-91, young player. We need that. Tanner McKee needs good targets to develop nicely, and that is certainly something that we're going for here. David Edwards, left guard, a backup out of the books, 5 years, long-term deal, not the most expensive contract, works for me. Trey Hopkins with a mentor tag as a center backup. Darrell Williams with a mentor tag as a backup at right guard. We brought in JJ Watt, super low-balling him, 2-year deal. He's a backup. And we brought in Patrick Queen, super excited about this one. He's going to be our starting mid-linebacker straight from the get-go. For a quick draft recap, this one is a little bit of a disappointing draft, I have to say. I went for Jack Beck out of LSU, the tight end. 69 rated at the moment, normal dev trait. So no boost to the tight end room. I was really hoping to improve that room, to be honest. Not happening. We've got Cole Goodson, left edge. I needed some support there. We do have a hidden dev trait there for the rookie out of Oregon. That is actually good news. I think I can make him a starter immediately. Next up, we brought in Keyshawn Silver, 61 rated. Ja'Cory Brooks, a wide receiver at 66 rated, also with a hidden dev trait. That is actually quite fun. But he was sitting on the board for ages. I just felt like I had to take him in the 5th round. Eric Hitchens, 64. And finally, Theo Hoover, also 64. All of these are pretty much unusable. I mean, we'll be putting Jack Beck into the team. Goodson is in the team. And I will be putting Ja'Cory Brooks also into the team. Let's take a look at what the squad looks right now. Alright guys, don't ask me where that now came from. It must have been out of the deepest depths of my body. Anyhow, this is the Saints team as it looks right now. We have Tanner McKee at quarterback, Alvin Kamara, Cam Akers, then Jefferson and Snell here at the halfback room. Bond is a dedicated fullback. That is good. We've got Ceedee Lamb, a major improvement to the wide receiver core. Dion Hardy. Then we've got Garland down here. Over here, Chris Olave, Brooks, Ja'Cory Brooks, and Austin Jr. That works for me. We've got Troutman, we've got Ruckert, and then we've got Beck. This is a very meh tight end room. Nothing crazy in there, but not too bad. With the B-, looking actually pretty solid. Cohen at right tackle, Ruiz right guard, McCoy, then Green and Penning. Unchanged on the offensive line. I like that a lot. On defense, We have added Brisker here ahead of Marcus May. I just want to develop Brisker, plus he's only one away from overtaking May anyways, so that's definitely a good choice. We've got Davis at Jamin Davis at left outside linebacker, Patrick Queen at mid linebacker. We have Pete Werner at right outside linebacker, Tyrann Mathieu over here. He did go down in development trait, but still a very, very good safety. But at some point in time, we will have to be looking at solutions for this, because Tyrann Mathieu and Marcus May are getting older and older, will not be able to play with us forever. Down here we've got Jalen Johnson. That is a huge boost that he re-signed that deal. We've got Taylor down here and Antoine Foreman over here, Possum Adebo and Wooden out of the draft. Of course, this is Goodson. This is the left edge that we signed here, Cole Goodson. He's 21 years old with that hidden depth trait. Super interested in what that depth trait will be, and I can use JJ Watt as a backup, which is a huge luxury. We've got Young here at D-tackle, we've got Odigizua here, and we've got Barmore over here. I could use Goodson as a D-tackle as well, then I could utilize JJ Watt, but I do want to develop Young as well. So more about the development here right now. Special teams are set, as are the specialists, and with all of that said and done, we are ready to head into this season. Gonna let the season simulate now. So here we are at the end of the regular season. We are in the wildcard race, and we finished the season 13 versus 4. And really good result for this season here. We are matched up with the San Francisco 49ers. All right, here we go. We make it through to the next round. We win 38 versus 31 versus the San Francisco 49ers. The next game is going to be the divisional playoff, this time against the Seahawks. They are looking quite the tough team. They do have CJ Stroud as their quarterback. That definitely is a challenge. They are looking better than we are in each and every department, but then again, we are improving over time. Maybe we can get it done. Maybe we can push forward. Don't really feel like we're a Super Bowl team yet, but we'll see. All right, there we are. We lose the game 38 versus 31 versus the Seattle Seahawks. We are currently sitting at an 86 overall, 87, 86 on offense and defense. Time for a quick draft recap. We have drafted all 7 rounds. So that was the full draft for once. We drafted Josh Connerly Jr., right tackle. He was just looking too good to pass up on. 75 rated, hidden depth trait. I think that will be immediately going into the roster, then maybe even replacing Bernard Ryman right there. We have Jaleel Skinner. I hoped for a good tight end. No luck here. Normal depth trait. He will be slotting into the tight end core. No questions asked. But yeah, nothing special right there. Then we picked Jamon Tapp, a left outside linebacker. Definitely one for the practice squad. Don't think that this will be much more than that. Trevonte Citizen, a running back, 70 rated rookie out of Miami. Looking quite nice in the core attributes. Secondary attributes are absolutely terrible. So running back works. Everything else definitely not. Wide receiver Colton Sanders was still very high up, but still on the board. He was from rounds 1 and 2. Yeah, now I know why. 68 rated. This is going to be a player for the practice squad. Down here, Damian Ross, 58 rated. Left edge, we are not even going to talk about this player. This is straight up garbage pick. And down here, we picked Lucas Heyer, a normal depth trait rookie out of Stanford. 65 rated center. I felt like maybe he could add something to the team, but yeah, that question was answered. All right, so here we are at the beginning of the 2025 regular season. We have not done that much this offseason because there simply weren't that many good free agents in the pool. It was a pretty standard class, to be honest. Nothing really sticking out there. We have a very solid offensive line, I would like to say, right? We've got Trevor Penning, we've got Kenyon Green at the left side, we've got Aaron McCoy at center, we've got Cesar Ruiz here at right guard. At right tackle, we have the rookie Connor Lee Jr., Troutman, Skinner, that's a new rookie here, and Beck are the tight end core. We do have passable backups everywhere. If possible, I brought in mentors to sort of improve on these players here. The stars of the show certainly were the wide receivers, Ceedee Lamb, who we brought in, Chris Olave, Deontay Harty, and Ja'Cory Brooks, Saunders here, Stevenson on the other side. The running core, also fantastic. Kamara, I think he went up. I'm not sure if he wasn't already. He dropped to star, now he's up to superstar again. That is great. We've got Akers behind him, Citizen, then we've got Jackson, Tanner McKee, Taylor Heineke is the mentor quarterback here. Then we've got Dion Bond here as our fullback. On defense, things are looking equally good. We have Jamin Davis here at left outside linebacker. That is looking very solid. Patrick Queen. We've got Josh Uche, who did go down in Dave trade. A little bit of a sucky situation, but doesn't matter too much. The overalls are still the same. Jaquan Brisker over here. Down here we have Jalen Johnson, we've got Wooden, we've got Alontae Taylor here, we've got Antoine Foreman. I feel like there's an injury hiding somewhere here. We've got Goodson, who did go down from the superstar. We've got Odizigua, we've got Young, and we have an injury for Barmore, but that is only for a week, so he will be back within 1 week, and then he will be available again for the team. The special teams are unchanged for the most part. The specialists are also set, and the practice squad is filled with, I'm not going to say talent, but it's filled with players. All right, so we'll just leave it at that. I really feel like this is one of the trickier rebuilds overall, but then again, we managed to rebuild the team for the most part. We need to get momentum going now. End of the 2025 season, we can see that the Saints are 15-2 atop of the NFC East. And that is just great, isn't it? Let's take a quick look over here. And here we are topping the NFC overall. 15 wins, 2 losses only. 0.882 percentage, 513 points for, 440 points against, so quite a good ratio actually. Pretty happy about this. I think this means that we are through to the divisional playoffs straight away, and yes, it does look like it. Over here we are straight through. We're going to be playing one of these 6 teams here. On the other side, it's the Kansas City Chiefs that sort of accomplished the same thing, are going to be playing the Carolina Panthers. Looks to be like a balanced game because they have a slightly lower ranked offense but a slightly higher ranked defense. So we'll see how that pans out. They beat the 49ers to get here. The other side is the Washington Commanders versus the Green Bay Packers. Over here it's Chiefs versus the Steelers, and the Jags versus the Titans. So that is really looking quite good actually. Interesting teams on both sides, and yeah, we'll see if we can overcome the Carolina Panthers. All right, guys, this is awesome. We made it through. We beat the Panthers 35-14. We are through. We're gonna be playing the Washington Commanders over here. Over on the other side in the AFC, it's gonna be the Titans versus the Steelers. The Steelers beat the Chiefs and the Titans beat the Jags. So there we go. This is the matchup here, and we will of course be looking forward to getting into the Super Bowl. This is actually pretty awesome. Really great development right there. The teams, again, a pretty balanced game. Our offense is more powered than their offense is, and our defense is weaker than their defense is, so it will be a very balanced game. All right, guys, this is it. We are in the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl Sunday, and we're going to be playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers beat the Titans. We beat the Washington Commanders quite decisively, 45-24 actually. This is looking pretty highly rated. On the other side, we've got a tighter game. The Steelers beating the Titans 14-7. All their wins have actually been pretty emphatic. 35 versus 14, 45, 24. Always 20 points in between. That is actually pretty comfortable when you look at it that way. A quick look at the opposing team. I do want to do that this time. I've really not done that in each stage, but you know, for the Super Bowl, I think we should take a look at our opponents. We are going to be facing Kenny Pickett here, Andy Webster, Jimmy G, Tyler Huntley are there. A lot of backup quarterbacks, to be honest. Not sure if they need those. Aaron Jones is there, Tony Pollard. Definitely a improvement. A super tough running room. Jesus Christ. 98, 90, 87. Fullback, Randy Hoskins. Two of those, that's interesting. Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Paris Campbell, Emeka Egbuka. There we go. And Alex Jarrett. Tight end Pat Frymuth, Jonathan Colbert, Nathan Gibson, Paris Johnson Jr., Kevin Dotson, Connor Colby, James Daniel, Spencer Brown. Solid offensive line. Defense, we've got Carlos Basham, Jamio Ojulari, 86 rated at age 24. Jesus Christ. Arik Armstead at D-tackle, TJ Watt at left outside linebacker, Miles Jack here, mid linebacker, Alex Highsmith, Sean Murphy Bunting, Ambry Tomsluck. Yeah, this is a super solid team actually. Terrell Edmonds, Chris Bowles, Will Tresway. Yeah, there we go. So very, very solid team. All right, guys, here we go. We have won the Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Super Bowl 60. Chris Olave for the Saints was the Super Bowl MVP. The Vikings quarterback CJ Stroud was the NFL MVP. Lemon Booker for the Jags. Coach of the Year Chris Godwin, Myles Garrett, Kate Klubnik, CJ Hicks. All right, nobody from our side. New Orleans Saints have won the Super Bowl twice, and we have added to that tally. Now, isn't that nice? It was a very close game, 34-31, obviously. We're not going to go too much into detail on this one, but basically, this is where I'm going to end this rebuild here, this quick and dirty rebuild. We have reached the target. We made the Super Bowl. We won the Super Bowl, and now the team is prepared sort of to really get going into the future. When you look at the squad, all right, there is just a lot of potential in there. There's just so much that still can grow, and you know, we are really set for the future. I think with this setup here, we are absolutely on the safe. I have no clue where Al Russell just came from. You know, I've absolutely no idea where this player just came from. I never signed him, so please get out of my squad, man. All right, so Tanner McKee, definitely quarterback for the future. 26 years old, superstar depth trait, 91 overall. He is just looking super, super solid, and I really feel like he is going to be going places. And I just lock him down with a long-term deal, and that is that. Halfback Alvin Kamara, we're going to come to that in a second. But Cam Akers also there. We've got Trevontae Citizen and Bryce Jackson. This is a solid room led by an elite halfback. The wide receiving room, same thing. We've got CeeDee Lamb and Chris Olave. Both of these players, absolute monsters. Deontay Harty is very good. Ja'Cory Brooks and Colton Sanders, I feel like, are there for the future. Stevenson and Baker, they are going to be candidates. That much is certain. On tight end, that is a position where I really feel like we could improve, get a super solid tight end in there, and then we are going to get going here. I might even be Jaleel Skinner at some point, just making him the number one here. And yeah, then we're underway. Jack Beck is the solid backup right there. Left tackle, we are set for the future. Another 5 years, no problem for Trevor Penning. Same for Kenyon Green, so this group can stay together. Eric McCoy, yeah, 3 to 4 years solid. He'll go to the 90s, and that is that. Cesar Ruiz, unluckily injured right now, but same thing. 3 to 4 years, not a problem here. We'll be hitting the 90s. Super solid right guard. We've got Josh Connerly, of course, 22 years old, 83. The sky's the limit for this dude. He's a very, very good right tackle. Can't be with us for the next 7-8 years, so we just need to lock him down long term, and that is that. Javion Cohn, good backup. Left edge, we've got Christian Barmore, 3 to 4 years, not a problem. Nick Young can grow behind him. Right edge, we've got Cole Goodson, 7 to 8 years, not even an issue. Chauncey Finney behind him. We could even switch over Chauncey Finney instead of Christian Barmore at some point in time if we really feel like that is needed. At D-tackle, another, well, I'd say 2 to 3 years with Odigizua, and then either bring in Byron Young because he's going to be high enough, just Keyshawn Silver, Gerald Sims are only backups in my opinion. But either we drag up Young and Odigizua gives off that spot, or we trade him, something like that. Left outside linebacker, Jamin Davis, 27 years old, 3 to 4 years, not a problem. This is a 3-year dynasty in the raw. Patrick Queen, 27.90, same thing. We've got Nakobe Dean behind him, so 3 to 4 years, not even a problem. Right outside linebacker, same thing. He can go strong until 31, but we can start rebuilding here as well. We can always bring in better players. That is not a deal. At corner, we've got Jalen Johnson, Alontae Taylor. John Johnson, of course, long-term deal. He's super solid, fantastic corner. Alontae Taylor is a decent cornerback number 2. Rick Wooden and Antoine Foreman, these two could improve to take over the spot here. Of course, we've got these 3 back here, but yeah, those are nothing more than backups. Free safety Tyrann Mathieu with us for another year. Then Avery Young could be taking over, and Avery Young going strong for another 5 or 7 years, not even a problem. Strong safety Jaquan Brisker, 3 to 4 years on him, going into the low 90s in no time. Marcus May, a backup. Harold Newton, then Eric Hitchens and Cedric Reddick. Yeah, they're just backups. We need to see who would really grow out of these players. If you look at the team's salaries, we know that there's quite a few players that are out of their contracts right now. All right, so out of these players, who would I re-sign? Stevenson, that would be a pass. Preston Smith, that would be a pass. Darrell Williams, that would be a pass. Trey Hopkins, that is a no. Alontae Taylor, I rather would not. I would rather bring in someone else, someone new out of free agency. We have the cap room. Nakobe Dean, yes, that is certainly a new deal. Trevor Penning, a new deal. Jamin Davis, a new deal. Jaquan Brisker, yes. Taylor Heineke, hard no. Kenyon Green, of course, a new deal. Alvin Kamara, I would look what he wants, right? But he's a 31-year-old, 92 rated player. We could quite easily get a similar rated player that is way younger with our cap space. But, you know, out of sheer emotion, I think I would keep him around. Chris Olave is a very solid yes. And with that done, the team is set for the future. We've got 150 mil cap space. I see no issues in re-signing all of these players that I want to re-sign. That would be my next step here. But since this is a quick and dirty rebuild, I will be leaving this as it is right now. Yeah, this was a quick and dirty rebuild of the New Orleans Saints. Hope you enjoyed this episode. This was a 100 subscriber special. So happy about this milestone. Very, very grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. I don't take anything for granted here. Just super, super happy that you're here. As always, drop me a like, please subscribe if you like what I'm doing. And yeah, otherwise, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.